In this video, I'm going to tell you guys about the ins and outs of my first deal as a real estate agent. And you guys know that I started out wholesaling real estate and then I got my real estate agent license. Now, both strategies are still a part of my business model, but in this particular video, I'm going to talk about all the good things and the bad things and the lessons learned during my first deal as a realtor. So hopefully this helps other investor agents that are following my channel. What's up, you guys? My name is Lillian Chukwueze, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to the family. I drop multiple videos every single week about real estate, entrepreneurship, investing, and just my journey overall. So if any of those things interest you, all that I ask is that you please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when I drop the next video. So let's get right into it. So my first deal as a licensed real estate agent here in Philadelphia. I'm gonna preface this by saying that it's my first deal on a house. I've done leasing deals already, meaning that I've helped renters rent out apartments in the area. So in this particular transaction, the buyer actually sought me out from YouTube and we connected really well over the phone. So she was really set on working with me as her buyer's agent. And if you guys are super new to the agent world, there is a listing agent and a buyer's agent. And the listing agent is obviously focused on duties that pertain to the listing, such as staging the house, hiring a photographer to take great pictures, actually listing the home on the MLS and hosting open houses to bring attention, coordinating showings with prospective buyers, and things of that nature. While the buyer's agent, like myself in this particular situation, do things like sort through a bunch of active listings, handle the negotiation process, prepare all the necessary forms and documents, handle inspections, counsel the buyers, yada, yada, yada. So that's a very brief overview of what each agent does in a transaction. And in this scenario, as I mentioned, I was the buyer's agent for my client. And the funny thing is she's actually from Philly, but she lives in Delaware, and she wanted to purchase a duplex or a triplex to generate some income while also providing housing for some family members, which I thought was a phenomenal idea. I could tell she was very serious because we got right into seeing homes. She had about an hour-and-a-half drive from where her house was while working a full-time job as a banker and having kids and a husband. So I figured someone who's willing to travel to see all of these houses and has all that going on, I know she was serious. So shortly after talking, we started seeing houses, multiple houses a day. I'm talking like 3 to 4 houses, which is understandable because who wants to travel an hour and a half just to see one house at a time? So I kept her same energy. You want to see 3 to 4 houses a day? Let's do it. Sometimes when she was even down here, we would go to see other houses that weren't even on the list for the day. But I was like, whatever, you're here, I'm here, let's just do it. But after a couple days of doing this, I realized something. And if you're a buyer's agent, you probably already know what I'm gonna say. Showing all these houses is freaking tiring. Not only is it tiring, but it can take up your whole day. And this is just one client. So I found myself literally carving out the whole day for this one client. I would spend 3 to 4 hours on the road driving around Philly showing all these houses to her. Now, before I go on, I just want to let you guys know that I'm not complaining. I'm just talking about my observations and my experiences thus far. If you guys have paid attention to my channel, my plan was never to get licensed just to be a real estate buyer's agent, but there are certain clients that I am willing to take on to get the full experience of the agent side of things. I just want to understand the responsibilities and experiences of an agent to see what it's like on their side. You guys know I've been on the investing side and the wholesaling side for the past 2 years. So now that I have my license, I just want to see things through the lens of a realtor so I can relate to them a little bit more. It's always different from knowing about something versus going through it. So back to the story. I was showing houses all day. Every day can be exhausting, and it really is on your client's schedule. So anytime I knew that she was coming down, I would make sure to schedule all my other showings on other days. I'd be spending a good portion of the day with her. And as a realtor, there are so many other things that you need to do aside from showing houses, as I mentioned earlier. And if you guys check out my other videos, my day in the life videos, I'll link them up above and down below. You'll see the other things that I actually do on a day-to-day basis as an agent. So when I get back home, I still have to handle tedious administrative work like running comps to evaluate the deals, handling the paperwork for offers, and I still have to make sure that I'm doing marketing so I can keep these leads coming through every day. And honestly, that's been one of my biggest struggles in business, period. When things get busy and you're pretty much solo, it's hard to keep marketing while getting through your current deals, which I am getting better at because my main source of generating leads has been social media and search engine optimization. And if you haven't checked out my videos about the best 2 2 ways to generate leads in real estate, then check those videos out. Again, I'll link them up above and down below. It's basically for investors and agents, and I simply break down all the strategies that I'm currently using right now that are generating me a ton of business. Now moving forward, we finally found a great duplex that she absolutely loved. And let me tell you, the best thing about going through all these houses, especially with a knowledgeable investor like herself, is that you learn a lot. Even though I'm an investor myself, I always like to go into things not knowing much and just willing to learn from others. And she was pointing out things that sometimes I even forgot to check for, or at the least I did not realize. In this one particular house that she actually wanted to put an offer in, she noticed that there weren't any inspection stickers on the electrical boxes. Now that's something I totally missed. So you definitely start to understand some of the intricacies of houses going on all these showings. But yes, we finally decided to put an offer in on this 2-story duplex, and this is where the story gets juicy. And this is also where the biggest lessons come into play. So when it came to putting in an offer for this house in particular, they were asking for $350,000. We initially offered $309,000 because we were looking at some of the comps and the active listings in the area to justify that $309,000 offer. But the agent came back with such a nasty attitude. She told me that I was literally wasting my time. She was telling me that I was inexperienced because I didn't submit all the extra paperwork that she required, and she actually told me to go back to my broker to get more training and that I won't get any offers accepted in this market. Yeah, she was pretty bad. She was really harsh. So, keeping it professional as I usually am, I kindly let her know that I can easily fix the mistake of not sending all the paperwork, but my client does have every right to put in any type of offer, and she has to legally present it to her. And it's safe to say she most likely didn't present my offer, which kind of sucked. I spent about 2 to 3 hours going through all the long paperwork that she required with the sales contract and filling it out with my mentor and just reading through all of it from my personal knowledge. So it took me a while to put all the paperwork together that I did send, just to find out the agent basically voided it out. So I informed my buyer, and she wasn't happy about that either, so the search continued. Then a couple days later, my buyer actually came back to me and she told me that she was actually interested in putting a full price offer for this house of $350,000. Now I was a little shocked, but I did know that she was motivated to purchase this house. So now I felt like I was back in the game with this house in particular. So I was gonna do everything I possibly could to make sure that I presented a great offer. So I went over all the documents that the agent required with my mentor. And even my mentor said that all this documentation was extensive and unnecessary and uncommon just for an offer, but I went ahead and did it anyway because I know that my buyer really wanted this house. And I also wanted to prove to the agent that I knew what I was doing and I can handle this without her input. So for those of you who come from the investing side like me, in most cases, the paperwork is very, very simple. Our offers to sellers consist of either a verbal conversation or a 1-page letter of intent followed by a 1-page purchase contract. That's how simple it is. It's so simple. And in my brokerage, eXp Realty, they actually provide us with mentors who will guide us from A to Z of a transaction. So when it came to the paperwork, I was asking my mentor a million questions. But needless to say, I submitted everything with the full asking price of $350,000 and an extra $3,000 of assistance for the seller's closing costs. Now that was a really good offer. And 1 to 2 days later, the agent informed me that the seller actually accepted it. And it was interesting because her tone happened to change and it was completely different from when she initially talked to me. That turnaround was crazy. At this point, she was thanking me for all the paperwork that I had submitted. And to be honest, I can't see a lot of other agents that went through the hassle of submitting all that documentation that she wanted. But regardless, we got the deal at this point, and I was super, super excited for my buyer because we had been through so many houses and analyzed so many deals, and we finally came across the right one. At least we thought it was the right one. And with that being said, I'd love to say that the deal went through and I made my approximately $8,000 commission and we all walked away happy. But I can't say that, unfortunately. We had some hiccups along the road. So the next big obstacle for real estate agents before the sale of a property is the inspection period, the dreaded inspection period. So to cut the long story short before this video gets too long, after inspection, it basically revealed a ton of repairs that needed to be done on the major things and mechanical systems in the house, including the HVAC, the electrical, the sewer and plumbing, the roof, and so much more. And after relaying this to the listing agent and even showing her the inspection herself, we were informed that the seller is not not interested in making any major repairs. Therefore, we decided to move forward and adjust our offer to $250,000, which is a $100,000 decrease, because after speaking with several contractors, the amount of money that it can actually take to fix these big things was way more than what my buyer was initially willing to pay. Specifically because the sewer itself would have taken potentially up to $30,000 in work because there was so much going on with it. And when I presented that offer to the seller's agent, she immediately turned me down again, which made me feel as though once again she made a decision for the seller. But you know, it is what it is. So essentially our first offer got declined and our second offer did get accepted. And that was actually my first deal as a real estate agent. But as I just told you guys, unfortunately we didn't make it to the closing table yet. But I'm still actively working with this buyer and I'm determined to help her find something that fits her needs. And honestly, that's just part of the game. So the lessons that I take from this are the following. You need to understand the nuances that come with working with buyers and sellers. As a buyer's agent, it may be good for you to set a 24-hour notice for buyers to set appointments so you're not running around like crazy like I did. But again, I wasn't necessarily complaining because I was willing to do that. Another tip is, or another lesson is that you need to always make sure that you have your paperwork in place so you don't have to go back and forth with any agents. Another lesson is that you need to be prepared to deal with rude agents and you just can't take it personal. And another thing is that you have to understand if it was easy, everybody would do it. There's no straight path to the finish line and sometimes it'll take you longer than what you expect to actually get a deal to the closing table and get paid. So you have to be willing to go through some time without receiving a paycheck, unfortunately. And always keep the goals of your clients at the forefront, and remember, if you help enough people get what they want, you will essentially get what you want. And that's how I'm staying focused on helping my client find her house, because eventually that'll help me get paid. So if you guys learned anything from this video and you got any type of value from it, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when I drop the next video. I'm here to pretty much help you guys out and show you my journey. And of course, follow me on Instagram and TikTok if you haven't done so yet. And until the next video, guys, stay safe and stay blessed.